Welcome! You're cooking with Mrs. Salisbury. Today we'll be making picnic tarts. So we'll have 2 cups of flour. I told you about spooning the flour in, leveling it off with that knife. So I have 2 cups of flour here. I'm going to need 2 teaspoons of sugar. I don't want it to be a sweet pastry, just a tiny bit. Half teaspoon of salt. We need to stir that up so it evenly distributes the sugar and the salt there in that flour. Then we'll need 3/4 cup of butter. So that's a half cube, which is a half cup, half of another one. And I cut it in little cubes, and that's cold butter. So I'm going to work this in with my hands until it looks like small peas, I guess. Looks like small peas. I don't think it ever looks like cornmeal, as some people say. More like the size of small peas is good. So I'm just going to cut this butter into our flour, sugar, and salt. And then, when this is evenly distributed, so sometimes you have to kind of lift it up. I don't want you to make a dough out of it yet. Just distribute that butter. See how I'm kind of working, smearing that butter a little bit in my hands. Nice cold butter. Okay, an escapee. Okay, so you don't have to do it a long time. That's good. I'll show you. Resembles about small peas. Okay, then in another bowl I want 1 egg and a 1/4 cup of milk. We're going to beat those 2 together. This is very simple. Remember, quick bread, let go of it, don't keep working it. I'm just going to make a well here in the middle. It's just so you can mix it a little bit quicker. With the fork, I don't want to wear that egg. I'm going to let it come to a dough first. Cold milk, 1 egg. 1/4 cup of milk, 1 egg. Okay? So it's starting to form a dough. So this is a rich pastry dough with that egg and a little bit of milk in it. You will love these. Kids also like to make these. So I have the dough. We need to divide it in half. So I just need to knead it a tiny bit. This is a little bit sticky, so I'm going to put a tiny bit of flour on it. I have about a 1/4 cup of flour next to me, so I can use it. So I'm going to set this here. I'm going to take this out. I'll move this over. Then I'm going to I'll sprinkle this with flour first. Then I'm going to kind of make a log, and I'm going to cut it in half. Let's move those. I'm going to set this dough over. I need to, I think that's about right. I need to roll this dough out about 1/8 of an inch thick into a rectangle. So I don't need the spoon anymore. I'm going to put that over. Now we need that fork again. I'll put it over here. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of flour on the top. Remember, just a little bit. Now you can use this as a fun measurement exercise for younger kids, or you can make it a little bit faster and you can use a legal size envelope, fold it in half. It's about 4 by 4 3/4, and we can use this because we need six pieces out of each dough so we have a top and a bottom. So if you want to know if you've rolled it long or far enough, hang on. I just kind of even that up a hair. Then you can go like this, like that. It's not quite long enough here on the bottom. Just turn it over. So that's fine that way, but it's not long enough. Go a little bit this way. Now let's check our measurements again. I need a total of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's pretty close right there. Okay? Don't worry if this is a little uneven. I found a trick we can do with that. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to take a butter knife, come straight down. I can flip it over. The butter knife. And then I can cut straight across. You can use this for your ruler. Just a legal size envelope. And if it's a little off, don't worry, because like I said, I have a trick for it. Now, I'm going to take these, make sure they're cut apart. If they don't come up, you can also use a metal spatula. Right now, I'm going to set this here, here. Don't worry if they're slightly off. I'll show you what I'm going to do here in a minute. If something breaks like that one just did, don't worry. Just put a tiny bit of flour on. You can lift it up this way. Lift it up. Let me see how many I can get on this baking sheet. Maybe turn that one that way. I have a bigger baking sheet, but I thought I would use this one because it's a size a lot of people have. Hang on, I'll show you the rest. Here's 5, and here is 6. So I'm just lifting that up with the plastic wrap. And like I said, don't worry if it's a tiny bit off. I can turn this one. I think that would be better. Give us a little bit more room. Okay, next, let's roll this side out, or this half out. Just a little bit of flour. I try to kind of get this in the shape of a rectangle before I start. Okay, so a little bit of flour on top. And we're going to make 6 more. That will be the tops, but we have to put jam in between first. I also have an egg wash that we'll be putting on the very top, and we'll be venting it. We'll talk about that in just a second. Again, you want to know if it's the right size. We've got this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let's cut them. However you want to cut here. And if they're a little off, don't worry, because we can bring them right on in. Okay, we can fold it over. It's very forgiving. No one will ever know. I need about a tablespoon of jam in the middle, about. This happens to be a mortadella cherry. It's going to be wonderful. Right in the middle. It cannot be freezer jam. Freezer jam isn't thick enough. If you have freezer jam, I guess you could cook it about 5 minutes longer, but it's going to need to be thicker. It'll be too runny. There's 5, about 6 mortadella cherry picnic tarts. Doesn't that sound great? Okay, there we go. There's my timer. Let me bring some out. Just a minute. I'll let those sit over there to cool just a second while we're putting the tops on. Before we put the tops on, I have a little dish of water. I'm just going to go around the outside edge of the pastry dough with my finger and this little dish of water. Go around. That'll help the pastry stick together for our picnic tarts. Just a second. Almost there. These are so good. So good. That one's a little bit smaller, but that's okay. We'll put a smaller top on it. How about that? So then I have the top. I'm going to put it right here. And I'll show you what I'm going to do to bring those edges in just a second. That's the timer, and I just took them out. No problem. And if we needed to, we could even trim a bit with a knife. Here we go on this one. I'm going to fold this up. Most of my mess is right there, so I can put that away. Now, let's look at this. We're going to use that in just a second. First thing I'm going to do, take my knife. I can bring it in with that to make it even. Or you could use the edge of a metal spatula. If you don't have a metal spatula though, you could use a knife. We turn the timer off. There we go. We took those out. I'll show you what the end product is here in just a second. Okay, I'm just bringing these up. So what you thought wasn't nice and tidy is now. Look at this. Look at this. That's great. Look at this. It's just a tiny bit off, so look at this. It's perfect. Love it, love it. You could even have an indoor picnic in the winter. Sometimes that's fun to do. Something different on a cold gray day or snowy day. Okay, just 1 second. I'm moving this in here, going around it. See how that's straightening it out? It's just great the way it straightens it out really fast. This is a softer dough, but you still don't want to overwork it. Still don't want to overwork it. It'll be rich with that egg and the milk in it though. Want this one straightened out a bit. Now, the next thing you need to do with your fork, you've got to go around the edges because this is going to press the two pieces of dough together. You have to do this, going all the way around. That will help seal that good jam in, whatever kind of jam you decide you like. This just happens to be a mortadella cherry, which I can't wait to try. Oh gosh, that will be really good. And make sure I crisscross over the corners to make sure that they're sealed. So I went that way, and then I'm going this way. I crisscrossed over those corners. Okay, I just have 2 more to do. Crisscross over that corner. Turn the sheet pan, crisscross those corners. There we go. That seals it in. If you need to bring it back in, you can do so. See how I'm bringing it back in? Just like that. They're not really going to puff up a whole lot, so they can be fairly close together. Just a little bit maybe. Okay, now you need to do the egg wash, then the vent holes. So I have 1 egg mixed with a tablespoon of water and just a pastry brush. If you don't have a pastry brush, you could put it on with your fingers if you needed to. Just gently, maybe a little bit of a piece of saran wrap or paper towel, but gently, I don't want to rip the dough. So just quickly go over it. The egg wash, I'll make a nice golden finish to our picnic tarts. Woo, I love these. Okay, we're almost done. Just a little bit of egg. I try not to get egg on the baking sheet so it doesn't burn. Okay, right here is our last one. These will bake at 375, 22 to 25 minutes. You check them at 22. If your oven you think is a little bit warm, then you can check them at that time. Right now, I'm making sure I don't have any flour or anything on the bottom of my baking sheet. So I have water I'm going over it with, and then dry paper towel. I just put the egg wash on top of the tarts. Now I need to do five pokes with the fork for 5 vent holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right across. Now I'll bake them about 22 minutes. It's 22 to 25 at 375. I'll do 22 and check them. Just a minute. I have some ready. I'll bring one over. Hot out of the oven, we have our picnic tarts. Let's take one off. Hot. Let me set that down. Oh gosh, look at this. Those mortadella cherries, and I had some with raspberry. This is beautiful. Enjoy. Thank you for cooking with Mrs. Salisbury. See you next time.